I know a lot of people who cringed at the very announcement of a Metroid pinball game. The reaction seemed to be, oh crap, Nintendo's gonna start milking the Metroid franchise with the same endless stream of nonsense spin-offs they used to milk Mario. This thing is stupid, and it's gonna suck. Only, it doesn't suck. In fact, this is the rare example of a spin-off that actually makes sense in the context of the character. I mean, if anyone could be a freaking pinball, it's Samus Aran. This is Metroid Prime Pinball for the Nintendo DS. Developed by Fuse Games and released in 2005, Metroid Prime Pinball is a really clever pinball interpretation of Retro Studios' GameCube masterpiece. This game is actually retelling the basic story of Metroid Prime, however loosely, on a pinball table. And as crazy as that sounds, it actually works really well. You're visiting familiar locations like Phendrana Drifts and the Phazon Mines, only this time, you're a pinball. Now, the premise works for a few reasons, the most obvious being Samus herself. The protagonist of the Metroid series, one of her abilities dating all the way back to her NES debut is her Morph Ball. Her mechanical suit of armor allows her to roll into a sphere in the Metroid titles, so putting her in a pinball game, it makes total sense. And frankly, it's also good for the franchise. Metroid has always been one of Nintendo's niche titles, at least in relative terms, so giving it some extra exposure with a well-conceived spin-off is actually something I'd like to see them do more often. I mean, this isn't Samus selling out or anything, it's not Metroid Party 3. So as I've said, Metroid Prime Pinball is actually structured like a story. Playing as Samus Aran, you have to navigate different locations on the planet Talon 4, find the necessary power-ups, and eventually defeat the Metroid Prime. Clearing one location allows you to travel to another, provided you get Samus into the correct slot on the pinball table. Speaking of the tables, they really do have a Metroid feel to them. In addition to all the weapons you have to collect, there are also these combat bonuses in which Samus disengages the Morph Ball, cracks her neck, and lets her arm cannon do the work. You also get to wall jump, you have to roll into enemies. I mean, this isn't just a pinball game with Samus haphazardly thrown on the cover to sell more copies. Fuse Games made a genuine effort to incorporate Metroid into pinball, and really, they've done a fantastic job. So the pinball is pretty unique, but most importantly, this is also a really good pinball game. In fact, it's one of the best handheld pinball games I've ever played. All the crazy Metroid elements keep things fast-paced and interesting, and the core pinball mechanics are good enough to carry the downtime. The tables are just pure chaos, packed with all kinds of bumpers and gimmicks to keep you on your toes. And the DS elements of the game's design are actually pretty interesting too. They use the two screens as one vertical screen with a dead zone in the middle, and you can actually touch the bottom screen to give the table a tilt. But to me, one of the game's biggest strengths is its presentation. Metroid Prime Pinball uses pre-rendered 2D graphics a la Donkey Kong Country, and they look tremendous on the Nintendo DS. You throw in the very Prime-esque soundtrack, and the visual and audio experience definitely holds up its end of the bargain. Now, a few more tables would have been nice, but otherwise, Metroid Prime Pinball is the textbook example of how to make what seems like a far-removed spin-off seem like second nature. And now Nintendo, how about a 3DS sequel? It's not like you're doing anything else right now.